Welcome everyone to the Return to the Knicks podcast. Tonight, we'll discuss the New York's 120 to 105 loss in Toronto. We'll get some reaction. I'm going to be joined by Chef Dan, the one and only from the Return to the Knicks podcast, and let's get going. Hello, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Return of the Knicks podcast. I am BX Sports JEDI Kev, joined with me with my co-host, my partner on the watch-alongs and on the host of MMA Combat Sport Weekly with Austin and Chef Dan. Chef Dan, good evening. How is your holiday going?
It's going great so far. Got a nice couple of days off, so I'm cleaning, taking care of my dogs, lounging around and watching these Knicks, but the last part hasn't been so joyful.
Well, speaking of the New York Knicks, before we get going and breaking things down, courtesy of the MSG Network, we could hear from what the coach has to say tonight. So let's add the coach. Let's hear the stream. And this is from Tom Thibodeau's press conference earlier this right after they lost the New York Knicks. So let's hear from Coach Thibodeau.
You had talked earlier about going small and you'd hope to speed things up a little. And it looked like maybe that didn't come through right away. Just kind of what you saw early on from that group.
Well, just going into the game, when you're shorthanded, your margin of error is small. And so where we wanted the focus to be is on the defense, the rebounding, and keeping turnovers down. And I thought the big thing was the rebounding. So we were badly out-rebounded, and then they do a good job of coming after the ball, so you got to trust the pass. And when we did that, I thought we got really good shots, and when we didn't, we turned it over, and that's a problem. So, but overall, I thought some guys stepped up and played good, but you're shorthanded, margin of error is small, and we didn't get it done.
Brett Katz.
Hey, Tom. Pulled McBride about 5 minutes in, and then you replaced him with Burks for the start of the second half. Was curious what went into that decision.
Yeah, just the way the game was going, felt we probably needed a little more offense to try to get things going, and so we went back and forth with that before the game, and then we knew we were going to have to mix and match. We were hoping to find some rhythm with one group, and we never really got there.
Armin?
Yeah, it looked like Van Vliet really took off in that third quarter with Miles on the bench. I mean, what was the problem with containing Van Vliet?
Yeah, he's a heck of a player. So that's he's a tough cover. He's going to make you pay for mistakes. And he did, and some of them were challenged well, but other ones weren't. And like I said, the big thing is you can't give them easy buckets. So we gave them points off our turnovers. We gave them second shots, and when you do that, they're going to get into a rhythm. And so like I said, your margin of error is small, but you got to play with great intensity. And if our defense and our rebounding is good, you're going to have a chance.
You're muted.
We put that hold there from Coach Thibodeau there, the moment there. We heard him speak about being on rebound, and what a silly question from the New York Post about Van Peek, what happened there. He's a good player. He hit some, he got going, got into the paint, no rim protection, and that was a goofy kind of question. Who wrote, who was that? Berman? Oh, God. My goodness. Captain Obvious. Could you ask a question? What are you going to do to help with the rebounding? And hopefully we'll find out more of the questions asked later on in the conversation. But the Knicks showed tonight the lack of rebounding. First and foremost, allow, like Thibodeau said, Van Fleet to get second opportunity shots, which he hit some threes, and in transition, turning the ball over and not establishing themselves. And this is a team that cannot play mistake basketball. They have to be mistake free. If they play one type of mistakes, they get paid on turnovers, Chef Dan.
I agree with that 100%. Especially with COVID racking certain players, other players out due to rest and injury and things of that nature. The way we played tonight, it was several pivotal moments that where we needed we're in transition and we have miscues because someone's trying to make a pass and they misread it wrong, and then some Toronto Raptor ends up with the ball. There's miscues in transitional defense where I saw someone running down the lane to get a dunk, Ken Burch, I believe, and then immediately RJ, who's the nearest person, is talking to Obi about it. These breakdowns can't happen. And so now it comes to, doing the basics right. Constant communication, know your player, know your role, knowing where everyone is on the court. And that goes into communicating, and we weren't doing that tonight.
Right, and I'm glad you mentioned that play between Obi Toppin and RJ Barrett. I know RJ Barrett wanted Obi to rotate into the paint, but Obi was closing out on the wing defender and stopping the three ball. I think he was trying to say, I think RJ's strong enough to take on a one-on-one driver down the lane, because what they're going to end up doing is kicking the ball out for a wide open three in transition, and I think that's what burns Thibodeau more. I think that's how you get into Thibodeau's doghouse. And trust me, Obi does. I'm not saying Obi's in Thibodeau's doghouse. It hasn't been either, but when he knows that he has no luxury to make mistakes, and he does want to play on the floor, he's trying to be as perfect as possible to play, and knows what the coaches want, and he's not going to let that wide open three defender come down the wing and shoot. So look for that. Hopefully the coaching staff will look in film, correct that, and address who's man or who's responsibility and hold accountable. And I like that fact that they're trying to communicate and trying to figure it out on the floor, and it wasn't demonstratory, Chef Dan. It was just a regular conversation, and I like that. That was good. That was a way of addressing it. And I thought the defense was going to be much more up to par, more rotating, because there was only 1,000 fans in the stands. You could hear each other communicate. Like last year, when they had 2,000 fans and so forth, you could hear the guy speaking on the floor, Bullock. You could hear everyone, hey, rotate, switch, or there was a certain word, a phrase that they knew where to be. And we didn't see that this much this game, although I couldn't have the audio sound due to the fact that, we do here on the Return of the Knicks podcast, those that are listening to us on the audio platform, we do a live watch along and play-by-play on the YouTube network. Follow us. Check it out. It's on BX Sports Jedi Network YouTube channel. And you watch out for hit that subscribe notification. And if you guys have YouTube or Twitch or Rumba, especially YouTube, we do live play-by-play.
Yeah, most definitely. You could join us, call the game, and we'll discuss certain aspects that are going live in-game. And so that's why there are certain moments to us that are really impactful. Those moments, we remember them because we feel like those moments dictate how the game goes and how the game could have potentially gone. But going right back to what you said, as far as, those pivotal moments and even that moment right there between RJ and Obi. I know you said Obi's not in Thibodeau's doghouse, but for the rest of that game, RJ Barrett did end up in Thibodeau's doghouse because the defense was lackadaisical from RJ tonight. It was very bad, and I know offensively he was looking to get going, but that's no excuse for some of the things that was going on the defensive end. And that moment right there, that was a telling moment right there, because RJ easily could have, you give an attempt. That's all you can ask for. That's all the coach can ask for. If you have someone covering the corner three and you're right there at the rim, The only thing the coach can ask for is that you give an attempt, and he didn't do that right there, and that was a pivotal moment.
Right. And good breakdown, because I actually didn't really capture the fact that you're correct. He was a little bit for Coach Thibodeau's doghouse. You're right, and that shows there that RJ needed to contest that shooter and stop that shooter, and that was his man. And that's how you escalate without. That's how you stop an escalation of a disagreement on the court, whatever, by the way he addressed it. He sat him down, and they'll probably talk it behind the post game. Say, listen, this is the reason why you sat, because and so forth. They'll break that down in film, and it just look, Chef Dan, what happened on the floor. They just played. They just didn't have the right talent. They were, you lose your top three players on your team. No Julius Randle, no Kemba Walker, no Derrick Rose. That's a tough task. Everybody gets to move up a couple slots in the totem pole, but now you're moving three, not just one. Not next guy up. Now it's next three leaps up, and some of these guys are not there yet to handle the leap. Not even just one, but now three leaps up, because God bless Alec Burks, who played well, and you saw Thibodeau said that he went with Burks in the second half early because he wanted more scoring, and he wanted a little bit of a jump start there. Burks, after coming off that 34-point game last game, I understand what he wanted to try to invigorate it and get him going. And where do we go from here, Chef Dan? This is just turn the page. It's just right now, it is what it is. You saw Toronto come back healthy. They went through their issues, but they're getting back strength, full healthy. It's just, it is what it is. Part of this, the luck of the draw. If you ask me, what's your thoughts on that there?
It's just some of the woes of going through this COVID rack season. You have not only did our top three scoring guns go down, but we also have little to no rim protection because Noel and Mitchell Robinson are both out, along with Jericho Sims. So now the best rim protector we have is Taj Gibson. We can only play him but so many minutes because he's a veteran. Things are really tough right now as far as, and Toronto is a well-coached team. We can never take away from that championship pedigree they have. They still have players that was on that championship ran team. They still have a way they go about, being who they are, the Toronto Raptors. And so every night they're going to fight rough and everything. But we saw it, like they were, the times where you can afford to have a defensive breakdown because you have a Mitchell Robinson or a Nerlens Noel there at the paint to deter some drives to the paint. That wasn't there tonight as well. So with this loss, as we just didn't have the talent. I can chalk that up with that right with what you said right there. We just didn't have the talent, and the only thing we can look forward to now is hoping that with the shortened COVID protocols, and hopefully some of the players that we hope for to get back, they maybe test negative. Hopefully Kemba starts to feel better so we can get him back. But yeah, we know the situation with Derrick Rose as well. We're gonna have to wait for him.
Right, and Rose a few weeks away, just I think about 6 weeks before he gets reevaluated. To see his timetable after that, and of course Kemba Walker out, and also you could see on the floor Evan Fournier is if Randle was around or even Kemba Walker, I don't think Fournier will be on the floor. I think Fournier is hurting. He's playing on 1 foot, hobbled, and there's no excuse because he's been having a rough going the whole season. But I think Fournier is, in other circumstances, I think he will be on street clothes, and he won't be playing. Be honest with you, because I think he's injured. I think he's not 100% either. So it's like the walking wounded for the New York Knicks.
I agree with that 100%. This is one of these things where these are the draws of the season right now. These are the moments where you kind of have to just bite down and bear through. And so with biting down and bearing through, and knowing that this team is as small as it is, what do you think Thibodeau's approach should be as far as, attacking this offense and trying to get more points on the board? Because I know we scored 105 this game, but technically the game was kind of out of hand and over with within the third quarter when Fred VanVleet went off to score his 35th point and just separated the game to a 21-point lead. Right there, how do we try and keep up with the offense, keep up offensively? Because I'm seeing it, the best creativity we've seen so far is just RJ Barrett trying to force it to the rim, and that's not working right now.
Right, and Barrett, he's going to the basket, but it's nice when Barrett cuts to the basket. It'd be nice for a trailer to cut with him from the wing, and Obi Toppin, or even someone with more similar athleticism, Obi. And I'm saying, oh my God, Kev, who the heck on the team has this type of Obi Toppin type of athleticism and grit? But you're right. But you also have play. Grimes could cut with RJ sometimes. You could have. Right now no center. Mitchell Robinson is another one that could go. But Mitchell Robinson here. You can't expect that from Taj Gibson, and I don't think Kevin Knox is that type of aggressive player to do that. So it's like that offense that they currently have right now, they kind of stuck because they don't have that guy that runner, that athletic runner that could run to the basket so far right now from the players currently on the roster that they're playing with right now with last night's game. And it's interesting to see tomorrow. They have a day off tomorrow. They should be arriving either sometime at 1 a.m. in New York or 2 by the time, whatever time it is, because it was an early flight. So let's say, through customs, and I don't know if Thibodeau was going to want to practice with them. It'll be interesting to see if there's any moves going to be made with the affiliate. The Westchester Knicks, they were on the floor practicing. Today pictures were tweeted out earlier from Lucas Samatic. You also had a few other players on the floor, Amir Sims, all that. There was a whole tweet of them back at it, back at the grind, ready to go. And Lucas Samatic pretty much says, "I'm ready to go," like saying, "Hey, I'm healthy." I don't know. I'll for those that you could follow us, BX Sports Jedi Network, or give us your Twitter handle, Chef Dan. I'll find. I don't even know mine by heart, so you do know yours.
Oh, mine's is at Dying Breed 18, at DYING BREED 18. There you can follow me. I'll always, like and repost. And if you DM me, I'll even talk to you about anything Knicks, Giants, or combat sports related.
Right, and you can follow the channel BX Sports Jedi Network and Return to the Knicks podcast at BX Jedi 76 on the Twitter, and also bxjedi76@gmail.com as well. We'll answer any questions, like you said, related to all the topics, as well as MMA, fighting, or any of the subjects, New York Yankees, New York Rangers, Michigan football, UCF football, baseball, basketball, anything with those program. You just follow us there in the Twitter, and or even want to say hello. That's we don't bite. Hellos are free, and hello backs doesn't cost us anything. So with that said, I'll make sure I'll have that Twitter. I'll put that there on my Twitter so you can see where they, or just look for it. Westchester Knicks or Lucas Samatic. You see he retweeted and reposted. He's ready to go. So I don't know what kind of surgery, what procedure he had, or how long, but it looks like he wants to play. And this is a guy that kept saying, and I know, guys, if those that have heard me, and thank you for those that support the program, the podcast, and not only the podcast, the YouTube channel, how much of a big implement of a fan. If you ask me, you could see I have pom-poms for Lucas Samatic. Because I saw him in preseason with San Antonio against Orlando. I like what he brought on the floor. Yes, he loses his assignment sometimes on defense, but I think, playing in Westchester Knicks, getting humbled, I think he's hungry. Every time I've watched a few. I'm going to say 3. I'm not going to say that's it. 3 Westchester Knicks games. Every time the kid gets interviewed, he always ends it, "I don't want to be in the G League. I want to get to the big club." I love, I don't disrespect. I don't, and he's the second leading scorer in the G League right now. In I know scoring. That's what the Knicks need right now. They need a scoring. They need low post threat, low post shooting. And I know he stretched the floor and shoots the three, but man, length and size. But I don't think it is what it is. But we're talking about what we have on our floor. I know you want to hear how do we solve what we have currently on our plate. Dan, they're a shooting team. They're a shooting team. If shots don't go in rhythm, they're going to be in trouble because they don't have really someone to offensive rebound or penetrate except for McBride or Kemba Walker. And Kemba Walker's not there, and McBride's a rookie. It's tough. It's tough. And the thing that hurts, Chef Dan, this is the part of the schedule that is where you're playing teams on the 500 where you could have got fat and gotten back to 500 or maybe a couple games over. What's your thoughts on that, though, about the schedule, though, the timing?
I don't want to. I'm at a moment where I kind of just don't want to, it's kind of looking that way. RJ Barrett said, don't sleep on the 2022 Knicks. But I think I might have to fluff my pillow and, start getting the sheets ready, because it kind of seems like when the moments when we, kind of need to start getting fat on, these like this, like you said, this stretch of games right here, we were supposed to get fat on the teams that are under 500. But our three biggest scorers are out, and then we lose rim protection. We leave just the kids. The Knicks fans on social media have been screaming, play the kids, play the kids. We've seen a roster of the kids right now, and we're struggling to reach 100 points. It's kind of tough. It's like the season is saying no. I don't know. We're in 10th place. It leaves us in the play-in, so we always have a chance to get back. It's always, with the Knicks, we're always fighting an uphill battle, but, oh, man. The next game we have is against the Pacers, and they have bigs in Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner.
Yes.
It just looks like a daunting task ahead. And the only thing I could ask the Knicks contingency to try and do is find a way to the reason why I asked for the offense maybe to kind of change a little is now that we have just the young kids playing, we can maybe find a way to highlight their skill sets in the offense. That's the best thing we can do right now. And the only people we found a way to highlight their skill set easily is Alec Burks, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and Quentin Grimes. And it's all dependent right now on if the shot falls. I truly think right now, even with all the great things Obi has done, and in tonight I know he repeated his career high in points as well, so congratulations to him. But I don't think we've still unlocked Obi Toppin, because earlier in the game when all the shots mattered, he only took 6 shots and 4 of them were 3-point shots. I don't want Obi Toppin taking a whole bunch of 3-pointers.
Right. And also it was by the problem with that, and me, I'm gonna be totally transparent. I got the Obi Toppin shirt on right now, so. When you're at the shot clock down of under 7 seconds, I think he though two out of the 3 times he had shot clock winding down and he attempted those threes. And what I've liked him to take the ball, because he's not that type of player to have a floater either. He doesn't have a floater either to drive, especially when you're from the corner. It's tough to get a jump shot from the corner, driving in and try to get a shot. And I understand why he does the 3, but. Would like him to establish more low post, like when the Knicks were down by 26, 24, the highest watermark of the game
was 25.
25. I was like, why is Obi Toppin still in the bench? This is the time of game that you need to put him in there and let him work on his low post moves. You not wave the white flag in Central because we didn't have a bunch of deep bench tonight, but there's a type of play where you want to try something different. You know, try to feature him down low, get some post moves. Also, just try something. You know, and established. And I want to like to see Obi Toppin. Maybe this is something he needs to work coming up off season. Low post moves. You know, right now, you you don't want to overwhelm the kid, and I think maybe that's the reason why this summer they just wanted him to work a 2-man game with Emmanuel Quickly, with a point guard, you know, or try to have Emmanuel Quickly work as a point guard skills along with an Obi Toppin, and watch those two grow together and hand in hand. And we'll break on that too. I think Obi and Quickly both should be in the starting lineup together. I think they complement each other, but we'll get to that in a moment. And I think coming off this offseason, I think that's the next maturation of Obi Toppin's game is low post threat, low post moves, be able to, you know, receive the ball down low deep, make either a quick pivot or footwork, or use his athleticism and strength to score. And then, you know, after that, learn how to have some post defense, which I think his defense is not that bad. You know, I understand he might make mistakes or lapse or allow the trail in transition open sometimes for three, but when he goes one-on-one defender, he's not a bad one-on-one defender, Chef Dan.
He's not. He's not a bad one-on-one defender at all. If we are, this is what I want to ask though. Do you want to right now with the players we have? Do you want to maybe give him a chance to work on those low post moves and even initiate our offense from the low post? Because that would essentially be Randle-esque.
I would like that, Chef Dan, but there's no one on this team that he could mimic or help out with the low post move, because Randle doesn't show that either. And we you know, those of us that have been we're a little frustrated with Julius, because we know that he has a skill set, but he's not featuring that either. A low post scoring threat, more of a wing stretch, and he'll drive going north to south at times, but. You know, and maybe the game has passed us by, Chef Dan. Maybe I'm just an old relic who's been watching basketball since the '80s. You know, that I want to see the typical feed the ball down low, let the guy, you know, not just the isolation, but get him in the deep post, get a 2 or 3 moves. You know, either he's going to go to the basket, go put up, or find the open man to kick real quick. And Julius doesn't do that at times. And let's say 70% of his possessions are not that type that we want, and maybe, you know, I don't want to sound like the game might pass me by thinking I'm stuck in an old time or another era of basketball, but we would like to still want to get. I still think, you know, the high percentage field goal shot is the best in basketball, because you can't you can't miss it. Those, you know, you're right there to the basket, you know, and low post moves. I think there's something to it, because you also want to call and command a double team or even triple team if you're becoming a demon down, you know, in the paint scoring, you know, and that's just going to help our shooters. It fits our skill set of shooters. Quickly, Grimes, at times RJ, Alec Burks, even Derrick Rose has shown it, even Kemba Walker. If you got guys who could dominate down low in the paint, that's going to help them. They're shooting. Even Evan Fournier. This is why Evan Fournier was brought here. You know, if you got guys in the paint that could dominate that and command that, these guys are their 3-point and their outside shooting are going to improve, in my opinion.
I agree. It just with the guys that we have, you know, Julius and Obi primarily, when they're working in the low post, what it comes down to for me, the reason why I kind of sometimes, you know, I'm a little hesitant about that is because they're not very decisive.
Right.
That's the one thing that kind of kills me, is the indecisiveness. And I'm starting to see that, you know, it leaked over to Obi a little. We saw that in this game a little sometimes. We saw that even in the Thunder game a little bit, where he kind of just, some indecisiveness kind of slows him down and he doesn't get the opportune bucket that he needs. I don't know. Are you comfortable with the way they're playing right now, that you'd let them go through all this? I mean, because I know the guys that we have, they feed off of it, but that indecisiveness, that, the 1-2 seconds of thinking about it is a difference between a missed and a made shot, and that right there is a difference between a good possession and a bad one.
I agree with you in a point, yes, but we haven't reached the halfway point. There's still plenty of basketball left. If you want to take these legs, and guys, the New York Knicks do not have the luxury to give away games or experiment on the floor. They don't have the luxury. They're a middle of the pack team. They're ranked 17 in defense, around 8th in 3-point shooting. Around, I think, 19th in offense, if I'm not mistaken. They're middle of the pack. They're mediocre middle of the pack team. And I know one thing that they're one of the lowest echelon team is assists. They don't assist the team. They're like 29th out of 30. I think OKC is the worst assisting team. And with those stats, my point is they're middle of the team. There's still plenty of basketball, and they can't afford to experiment and make that. But this is the time, though. You got sub 500 teams. You still got more than half the season left. And you're going to get your three horses back eventually. Randle, Rose, Kemba, or Randle. At least Randle, we know for a fact. We don't know if Kemba is going to be traded. That's for another conversation for a different podcast. But there's rumors of trades, and stuff like that, and he might be one of those that might be included. With that said, if you could bring these guys out, the habits, and also allows you, Chef Dan, to see if these guys could translate it on the floor. Because let's say, and I hate to do this because I don't like talking about hypotheticals, but it's a realistic fact in NBA talks where a megastar might be available and they might want one of these players. So now it's an opportunity to see what they do on an NBA floor. If they show you glimpses of play, and it makes you want to say, you know what, I don't think so. I ain't trading you for X mega player because I see something on the floor that I liked. Or, you know what? Maybe it was a little fool's goal. Maybe because he's playing, whatever the case is. Maybe we could take a chance and let this player X go on this trade because we're going to bring a bona fide, caliber NBA number one or number two or all pro or NBA player in that position that we've been lacking for years in point guard, center, or whatever the case is. So I don't know, Chef Dan. I'm torn between that because, you want your own kids to develop, that you draft. You want to see them grow. You want to root for them. Heck, you want to see, like anything else. But maybe this is a blessing in disguise or an interesting situation going on right now what the Knicks are going through.
Yes, I believe it is a very interesting situation because it kind of lends to kind of the identity of this team. And earlier this season, we didn't know what the identity of this team was. We looked lost. There was nothing we could hang our hat on. And we're kind of slowly realizing the things that we need as the season goes on. We saw that last year. We felt maybe we were just 1 to 2 steps away. But now as the league, every year the league changes. As much as it changes, it stays the same. And so we're seeing now with the premium that is needed that I think we never had earlier this, we never had it. We just, because we were missing other things, we prioritized that over this. And one of the things we never had truly was length. We never had lengthy shot makers. When we prioritized length, we ended up with Frank Ntilikina, who wasn't really a shot maker, someone who we didn't prioritize in the development to be a shot maker or anything of that nature. So now when we're going for shot makers, we're getting short guys like a Deuce McBride or Quentin Grimes. He's not short, but his wingspan, with the wingspan he has and the height he has, he's not comparable to let's say a DeAndre Hunter or a Scotty Barnes, players like these. We saw that that was on display between the Toronto Raptors, and so we kind of need guys that are lengthy. We need athletes that, can make shots as well as can, create their own shots. But also we need guys that, fundamentally are going to hold the standard to themselves. I know we have guys like that in Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickly already. Those guys already fit that mold. But we need more guys like those two.
Right. That, and I'm not saying they're getting this player, but they need like a type of molded player, like the young man from the Pelicans, Ingram. They needed like that kind of lengthy type of player. I'm not saying that kind of player, but they need that kind of length type of player. We saw like that length that could stretch the floor, that could also have long arms, that could rebound, also defend, get those long arms in the passing lane, create a hard for a really disability for opponents to shoot over, because they just they got all arms, and you're like, man, I can't really see the rim. Also like McDaniels from Minnesota. I'm not saying those type of players, but our own type of version, that type of mold that fit there. That 6'9", 6'11" area, long, lanky, athletic. That could just jump and has that long reach. And I think that's what the Knicks were trying to need to address going forward. And well balanced, Dan. And it seems like they keep drafting the same type of mold, 6'5", 6'6", that could shoot, that are really well good defenders. But after a while, they you have to, maybe they're just trying to weed them out. See which one they want to keep and move them, because maybe they think that that's going to be a premium in the NBA going forward. Seeing how trying to mold to a Golden State Warrior type of mold with Klay Thompson, Curry, and you have a Draymond Green. I'm not saying Randle's a Draymond Green type of player, but he does kind of do similar things, handle the ball, get in the paint, move around. And Draymond Green is what, 6'8" as well?
Yeah, he's 6'8", roughly 6'8", 6'9", something like that.
Yeah. And maybe that's something what the Knicks are trying to mold around, a Splash Brothers type of deal with them all three, and they're I don't know, and it's tough to mimic those, because those are really good players, phenomenal players, and then you come in with I don't know if that's the game plan that they're trying to mimic or trying to bring forth, but in the NBA's always been size and hitting shots, size. You got, if you're taller and athletic, I think that gives you the advantage, and young and fast. I mean, I
actually don't want to step away from that idea that you're talking about right there. Okay. The mode of, them trying to build in a way of Golden State, because if that's the case, then this offense does not match that style of player.
Right.
You need consistent motion.
Right.
It doesn't match that style of player. It seems, I don't know,
and on offense they get stagnant.
This offense gets stagnant, but it all depends on really what, like, based on the moves that the front office has presented so far, what type of team do you see them trying to build right now?
That's exactly. I'm not not on offense, but the style of players, characters of players on paper, that's what they look like, Chef. A lot of wings, and NBA average wings. Besides Kemba Walker, because I once again, and I keep saying it, Kemba Walker fell on their lap. That's something. It's like the last person to dance, and you didn't want to dance on the floor by yourself, so you're going to dance with that person. That's the way I feel with Kemba Walker. That's just my opinion, folks. So, just wanted to say that, only put that out there. But everyone else, from Grimes, RJ, all the way, RJ was already here before this front office, so let's exclude them. But everyone else, it's like almost the same skill set, that same type of skill set, and they want to have that kind of skill set interchangeable. But the only thing they want to keep pretty much the same is your power forward with Randle, and that's good and all. But did they ever thought about Randle playing the most minutes he ever played in his career? How is it going to affect this season? Maybe that's also another effect. Maybe he's feeling that he had such a, and I'm saying he can handle it, but maybe the body felt it, because he said that was the shortest recovery time he had in his career. And that's documented when he was going through. He goes, that was pretty quick for me to recover, but I'm ready. Of course he's gonna say he's ready because he's going to say I'm not ready. I'm not in shape, but it was the shortest he ever said he's gotten back on the court to get ready to off-season program, and then just being a new father as well. That's another thing. Because hey, we all excited when he's a family man, always with his family, with his wife and his son, and now his other child, and he's a family-oriented man who does a lot of things with Kanan, goes out with his wife and family, participate. He's involved. He's very extremely involved, and he puts in the work. So he's gonna have to try to put a balance. Did he get a full recovery, not just physically, emotionally and mentally? Because it was on cloud nine, and then I'm gonna do it again. It's tough. It's tough. There's always a saying, Chef Dan. It's easy to get on top of the mountain, but it's tougher to stay on top of the mountain.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And even with last year, we relatively weren't even on top of the mountain. Right. It was just like we finally got to the mountain. Right. We were one of the climbers finally.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, right. When I mean that is for Julius Randle, when I mean the top of the mountain is career highs. And he smashed all his career highs. So that's for him, that's climbing, that's a new benchmark. Or that's a new mountain he climbed. So now he has to try to climb even a higher mountain because he already climbed one mountain. So that's my point of staying on top of the mountain when it came to Julius Randle. Of course, the ultimate mountain is the NBA title, the Larry O'Brien title.
Okay. Oh, as far as that,
yes,
okay.
I should have cleared that up from when I meant it. But that first mountain, the first one is that one. Is that first mountain is his career highs and getting most valuable player. Then maybe this year he was looking to do that. The next mountain would have been win a league MVP. I don't know what was his personal goal. I'm not Julius Randle. I do not know what he thinks. But just from an aspect looking over, what's my goal? And then that's an individual mountain. As a team mountain, of course, I think they wanted to go into the next round of the playoffs or win the round of the playoffs. Climb that mountain. So like you said, they first got that first one is that they climbed the mountain of not being a playing team, actually making the playoffs. That's the first small mountain. And then when they climbed it, they go, wait a minute, there's another mountain which is getting into the playoffs and hosting a playoff win. And maybe, who knows? Like I said, it's harder. Now you're not the under the radar team no more, Chef Dan. Now you're welcome. We got the Knicks. They were 4th seed last year. We're going to kick your butt because we want that. Hey, these teams like Toronto, Indiana, the Pacers, teams that finished under us, they want to be that feel-good Knicks story this year. And they say if this team of Knicks could do it, why can't us, Chef Dan?
Oh, yeah. I'm not even going to lie. One game that I feel like one team just kind of took it personally to say, hey, if they can do it, we can do it, was the Cleveland Cavaliers. I felt all throughout that game that they kind of just, them and the Bulls this year, the Bulls have kind of let it be known that, they want to run the same type of story that we ran last year. And that if the Knicks can do it, they can do it. Right.
And that's why, the hunters become the hunted, and now they become hunted. And teams... And I'm not saying, teams are not going to win anything for beating the New York Knicks, although teams relish just to beat the Knicks, for media exposure, to embarrass the franchise, whatever the case is, team gets up even more.
Yeah, but sometimes, in the minutia of having an 82-game season, sometimes having those little goals, those little intrinsic goals, help you along the way. And right now we gave, after last year, we kind of just gave we gave everyone in the league a new goal, and that's to beat the Knicks again.
Especially in the Garden.
Especially in the Garden. And the last couple of years, it was kind of just, go off in the Garden and whatever, they're the Knicks. But now we've gone to the playoffs, it's, they're the Knicks again.
Right. And it doesn't help either. Game 1 of the season, we're bing-bonging and guys are going, and rightfully so. We waited for a long time. I'm not going to argue or hurt the fans with that, celebrate, but...
We're not. We celebrated, and rightfully so. When we win a game, we celebrate. It's just that right after that, everyone said, you know what? If they want to celebrate, we'll show them how to celebrate.
Right, and unfortunately, that was a target, a bullseye, an unnecessary target they put on their back, with the bing-bong and going after that. And, pretty much, it is what it is. It was already done. You can't put toothpaste back in the toothpaste in the tube once it's spilled. It is what it is. But hopefully going forward, and I'm saying I'm not taking anything away because there's folks that have been waiting since since the last title since '72, waiting for the Knicks to hoist the title. I personally, I've been twice to the NBA Finals, and to feel that defeat, that gut punch of almost winning in Game 7 against the Rockets and getting swept by the San Antonio Spurs and not returning back to that land. I felt that, and my point is, we got to learn. Even though we haven't been there for a long time, we just got to learn how to be like we've been there before. And I know it's hard because I never seen it. I seen there's a whole generation of players that I haven't even seen them play even in the conference finals or remember the recollection of them playing even in the conference finals. But we need to act like we've been there before. No, not a knock to Knicks fans, because like I say, I always say it and I say it again. We are the most loyal, and kudos to them to travel any visiting arena is always full of Knicks fans. Other than Utah, I don't think that gets full of Knicks fans. But anywhere else in the United States country, I could say that there's Knicks Nation represents extremely well. And kudos to the fan base that goes and follows them and makes them voices heard in those visitors arena. But the ones that are at home, and I understand that you guys get excited when we win because I understand you got the tickets on Madison Square Garden are extremely expensive. And you have all the right to get excited and go the way you receive a victory, especially after that all that much money that you pay for those tickets, how expensive it is, and so forth, whatever all that. But let's let's go crazy when we get over to that mountain, because I can't wait to be the first fool to go act like a fool too when they win the NBA title.
Most definitely, but if this season does continue to persist like this, and we somehow squeak in to the playoffs, regardless of how the year ends, right? What I want to see from now is how the front office and how the players individually attack the off season, because we had a good year last year and we were all curious. You know what? I'll start from this. When the front office inherited the roster that they did, we wanted to see how they would attack it. And they attacked it in a great way. They tried to do something different this year. It didn't work. Are you going to try and go back to that same formula, or are you going to try and do something else this year? What is the evolution for this front office? Because these guys, Leon Rose and William Wesley are relatively new to being front office guys, being, in charge of a franchise and being the head of the moves. Scott Perry, not so much, but I would like to see, after this year, how they attack the offseason.
That's an interesting fact that you brought up, because there's rumors that Scott Perry has a foot down to being president of the Portland Trail Blazers. That was reported before. I don't know. It's kind of quiet down. They haven't made a decision, but I could see Scott Perry moving away from the Knicks and taking a president role elsewhere, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of general manager they bring. Although we all know, Rose is their president and Wesley, but they want to get a general manager there. Will they bring a basketball mind that has done the GM role before, that knows the players, or will they bring another guy like similar to the Rose type of deal, Leon Rose and company and friends? I wonder if that were to happen, or would they elevate Allen Houston and finally give him the GM role and allow him to become a general manager? Those are questions for the end of the season and so forth. Because like you said, Chef Dan, it'll be interesting because this trading deadline is almost upon us. February 3rd is when Julius Randle could be moved. And I'm not saying he's being moved, guys. I'm just putting these dates out there just to, just put the dates. But that's facts. If they were gonna ever make a move, it's until February 3rd. Randle's not going anywhere, and I don't think he's gonna go anywhere. Period. To be honest with you. But just in case, February 3rd is when he's available to move. Like that, December 15th was the big name day that Kemba and Fournier could move. Although we're not going to, only move that we've seen so far really is Rajon Rondo moving, from Los Angeles to Cleveland. Although, I questioned that on the podcast, on the watch along. I said, why did the Knicks allow him to go? Not make a phone call, kick the tires. You signed Moody, you signed other point guards that really didn't, it's not really going to get that much playing time. Even if you bring Rajon Rondo not to play or help, see something on the floor to help a McBride, help the young quickly maybe, because, quickly. And I thought, even if you bring Rajon Rondo, even if he plays, it's still. This is when I said on the live broadcast, I said, every time May came around, no matter how much you said about Rajon Rondo, or he don't stick with certain teams all the time, or not a building block, but every time I watch the NBA on May, especially when the Knicks are no longer available or they're playing golf, and it's May and the teams that are there's always a Rajon Rondo team doing something in the second round, doing something. I'm not saying he's the vocal point, Chef Dan. He's not the main star, but he's part of that, and he's a catalyst on those teams. And obviously, he's bringing something to help them elevate to that level. And I understand it could be a little luck as well, but he's got something to do with it. And I always hear Mike Breen, and I hate to hear him, he's always saying Rajon Rondo, and always saying something positive on the scouting report. And that's 4 times already that the Knicks that player has gone right underneath their nose, and the Knicks don't even bat an eye that way. And I don't. It puzzles me because every way he does something well. He actually helped Atlanta, to be honest with you, get in that trade for Lou Williams, and he helped Atlanta establish something well with Trae Young, and so Trae Young helped. I guess you could say helped them mentor him, and they moved him on. I don't know why the Knicks didn't even take a kick on the tires on that.
I mean, because I guess currently because they'd rather save those spots for trying to get a big man in here. We're low on big mans.
Right, I understand the big man.
Yeah. So we already have all those guards. I guess I know Rajon Rondo is a championship level point guard, and he has 2 rings. First ever player to ever have a ring from both Boston and Los Angeles. But as far as the point guard expertise, I don't think there's more that he could ever teach from having a Kemba Walker and a Derrick Rose on the on the bench.
Yes, but as a stopgap player that you could bring in here, because he got traded for a bag of chips. Let me tell you, to be honest with you, he got traded for nothing. And you telling me the start that Moody has, a hardship, you could still bring him in here. And I'm not saying you would have got Rajon Rondo on your hardship deal because that was a trade. But Wayne Selden, I mean, even if Rajon Rondo doesn't play the role of Wayne Selden in mixing it out in practice, remember Kemba Walker is not known as a high assist guard. Neither is Derrick Rose, although both of them are in their ball. Give me the ball. I'm going to be the first option, which right now they're not the first option no longer in their careers. You're bringing a guy who never was the first option in their career to come in here and play the point guard, know how to set up teammates, and know how to elevate his teammates to utilize their talents better and utilize the team around them, their talents, and put them in positions to succeed. That's the kind of point guard I think they kind of needed. Change of pace, because Rose and Kemba were always alpha dog point guards, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but then again, we've seen that Rose had the ability to help unlock Obi, and now we're seeing that Rose's ability is even, I'm guessing the way he's found a rapport with Obi has leaked over to Alec Burks and Emmanuel Quigley. So I don't know. I don't think there's a person that if Rondo comes in here that he unlocks that the difference is that much more.
Good. Maybe I think he could feed and give and go, especially until Derrick Rose returns. Because if Rose is returning, you could actually release Rajon Rondo. It wouldn't cost them much. Let him go to a team if you wanted. If the team didn't go far, just a stopgap until Rose got back. Or like I said, in that role of Wayne Selden, just have him there on the bench. Wayne Selden is not going to get any playing time, and you would have had Rondo in the building. And in case the way Kemba, I hate to quote from Z, a guy with degenerative knee issues, you bring him in, and you have him in the roster to play and so forth, just in case as an insurance policy. But it is what it is. It already happened. It just puzzled me. It just puzzled me that they didn't even sniff looking at a Rajon Rondo, who still has plenty available, in my opinion. I'd rather have Rajon Rondo than Patrick Beverley.
No, I agree. I agree with, the idea that you're presenting, and I see what you're presenting, but I don't know. I could also see with the front office's idea in not picking up a Rajon Rondo and going he can be a great influence to these kids, but then again, they already have a Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose, and sometimes too many cooks to do bad things in the kitchen.
I could see that too. But also, you know, but also you want a different protein. You know, not all the time you're gonna go cook always egg, chicken. You want to sometimes add some beef or some shrimp. And protein's still a protein, but sometimes you want to add a different protein. So I don't know. As I talk, as those of you don't know that's listening to us in the podcast, we're mentioning these cooking references because Chef Dan is an actual chef. And we just trying to please him as a chef there. So those that are listening to us in the podcast and the audio platform, that's why we laughed and we chuckled because Chef Dan is a real chef, and so we're trying to bring a little cooking analogy as well.
Most definitely.
Now let's address something. I was going to end the podcast now, but I think we have such a good conversation. We're going to extend a little longer. Just a real one more topic. To be honest with you, Chef Dan, is the interesting dynamic in Houston. I know we talked about it on the watch along and the play by play live, but since we're recording it and we want to talk about it, those that missed the watch along and play by play and usually listens to us just maybe on the audio platform. The dynamic in Houston, we saw that Christian Woods and Kevin Porter Jr. Had an altercation or disagreement with assistant head coach John Lucas III, and it led to Kevin Porter throwing an object at his assistant head coach and leaving the team, just totally leaving. Very irate, left the game in middle, and the game still had a second half to play, and Christian Woods refused to be subbed back into the game. Wow, where things have changed with coaching and players' relationship. It's a players' league. My thing is that's an interesting team to watch for players being moved. And remember, the Knicks got play. I'm not saying that they're coming to the New York Knicks or should the Knicks go after him. I want to be clear. They only make a total of $15 to $16 million, both together combined in cap hit. We have a player in California at $17 million, or you could add, Nolan's Noel at $9 million and Kevin Knox at $15 million and some draft picks to match salaries and involve a third team with Indiana Pacers, who's Evan Fournier is at $17 million, $18 million. Now, you could do the math. You could move guys around. I think they found a third team to engage in a three-way trade, Chef Dan. What's your thoughts, or are we thinking too much?
It all depends on, I understand it's a players' league, and some players, nowadays are getting certain privileges that they weren't extended, back in the days. But I think regardless, there are certain things that you don't do as a professional. And so with that being said, with Christian Wood, I know he decided not to go back in, but the news was the reason why they reprimanded him was because he missed a COVID test. That's a very good reason to reprimand a player. If you know how important being tested for COVID is, if you know that already in this season, teams are missing players left and right, and I understand that, it's early and the Rockets, the Rockets win-loss record looks bad, but it's always an opportunity with the way COVID is racking the season for your team to kind of, play through all the scuttlebutt and possibly end up getting closer and closer to 500. You can fight your way through. It's very possible. You just have to be consistent and be dedicated to the craft the same way everyone else is. And that means doing things like taking the COVID test. You knew that before you came into the season, that was what you signed up for. And so for you to miss a COVID test is very irresponsible. It not only puts you in danger, but it puts your teammates in danger because now no one knows if you have COVID. And now for you to be upset with your coaching, with the coaching staff over that, and then refuse to not do your job, I don't know. It's very disrespectful. I wouldn't, that's very disrespectful. Now with Kevin Porter Jr., this is the second time that something like this has happened where he's been disrespectful to upper brass, and he's just decided to leave the team setting. it just doesn't look good for both of these guys. And so I know that the Indiana Pacers do, like the rumors have been out there that they do want to trade their players. They want to clean house. But is this what you want to clean house for? Like, is this? I know Christian Wood. What is the length of his contract?
He's almost done. He's going to get a contract extension coming up. Let me pull it up as we speak. There, I know I was looking at it earlier, and I had it earlier on my browser, but then now that I'm on the podcast, I can't change my browser right now, which I could, but let's find Christian Wood. And with that, we're mentioning about Christian Wood, it'll be interesting because losing does that. And when you're losing a game, you get frustrated. But I could see why John Lucas III, a little older fella, getting a little irate because he's older. You don't know if he has pre-existing condition, diabetes, or whatever the case. And with this COVID, it elevates your pre-existing conditions. It gets you sick and it puts you in harm's way, possibly perishing, dying. And you guys and NBA players are supposed to be held to a higher responsibility. And they should know better. They're getting paid, millions of dollars, for a skill set, and all they need to show is, like you said, professionalism, and for being irresponsible and trying, I can see why a coach might want to call a player out for that irresponsibility. You're not just, yeah, go ahead, Chef. Then.
But see, the crazy part is I read the article on that, and he wasn't calling Christian Wood out for, for missing the COVID test. He called out the team, the whole team, for their effort on the court because he felt they weren't giving enough effort defensively. And then he proceeded to point out certain players like Kevin Porter Jr. and Christian Wood. That's when they decided not to come back in for the game.
Got you. Christian Wood signed a 3-year, $41 million guaranteed, and his annual is at $13 million, and his contract, he is a free agent in 3 years, two-sided. 2 more. I think he has 1 more year left. 2 more years. I'm trying to see where I'm looking at Sports Track. And he will be a free agent in 2023. So he has to play next year. So he's got pretty much this year and next year. And next year's number is $14.3 million. So that's a very manageable number.
Yeah, and Kevin Porter Jr., he has a very manageable number, but he is like it all depends on like these type of attitudes. Do you want them near your locker room, and are they worth it?
Right. I don't know because Kevin Porter is still 21 years old. Kevin Porter Jr. Let me make sure I get that right. Junior, not senior. He's 21-year-old player. He's career average 4.1 assists. He's averaging 5.7 assists this season. In the games with the Rockets, 12.8 points a game, shooting 36.6% from the field. He gets 4.2 rebounds a game. Let me find his overall contract. And Porter right now, he signed go ahead, Chef.
He signed a 4-year, $6 million deal with the Cavaliers.
And
4-year, $8 million.
For them, $8 million, and for 2022 to 2023. So in 23, both Wood and Kevin Porter Jr. both come off the books at the same time. Now,
because they get qualifying offers, but the teams could obviously not extend the qualifying offers.
Right. They're restricted free agents. They're both restricted free agents now. Here's the deal. $2 million a year, you cannot, and I know the kid is really good, and I know there's an issue, but you cannot allow him to get on the damn Lakers. You cannot allow that kid to get on the damn Lakers. He gets on the Lakers with LeBron and so forth. It's like the rich kid's getting richer.
I wouldn't want him in Los Angeles.
But guaranteed the Lakers are going to be knocking on the door, especially after this outburst and stuff like that. They're going to be calling and knocking on the door.
I mean, but I don't.
I know we shouldn't worry about what the Lakers do. I understand.
No. That's not it. No, that's not it. I just. But if I'm I don't see how it benefits the Lakers at this point because they're Lakers. I don't know. Like they have problems beyond just getting a Kevin Porter Jr. that would solve.
I understand, but that's the right step. You're inflecting youth. You got a youth, and even if he comes off the bench at $2 million with, LeBron. When Westbrook sits, if they can move Westbrook, if they don't, whatever the case is, bring a Porter in Jr. with LeBron. You could put him in there with Melo to try to break it down, kick back to Melo, all this type of deal. Play there. I don't know. I'm just saying because every time there's one of these kind of players that has a lot of talent, the Lakers always try to sweep them like a hawk, like an eagle, going for prey, and that's why the rich get rich and teams get stuck. And I'm not saying the Knicks need to go get them, but they need to start asking questions, trust their own scouting report, their scouting team, and see because I'm not saying he's going to solve this point guard position, but for $2 million, that's a nice deal, contract wise, but I understand he's a headache. I understand there's a headache issue to that, detrimental. But remember, and I'm not saying it's the same, there was a headache that this guy that we bought here, it's a Knick, this guy's a Knick legend. If there was a Knick Hall of Fame, I think he would be in the Hall of Fame. And this guy literally choked his head coach. And that's Latrell Sprewell. And you saw what coming over to and nobody ever thought New York. This guy is beloved. You talk to any Knick fan that was from my generation, my era, Latrell Sprewell.
He is loved.
Yes. I mean, and I'm not, and hey, it might not work with Kevin Porter Jr. It might not. You might,
But then again, I see what you're saying. It's saying it might work too well.
Especially, yeah.
It might work too well. Like he might find a comfortable niche. He might be the shot-making Kuzma that they needed.
You never know, because that's the point guard with and $2 million. Even if you play 1 year with him and bring him in the end of this year, and he does really good for New York at that price, you could let's put this scenario. He comes to New York and he plays really good, but the Knicks still have doubt about his character. Maybe he's doing that because he wants to get good grades with New York, and they don't trust him. They think, there might be an outburst or reputation, history might repeat itself. At $2 million, you add it with $17 million of Evan Fournier, you got $19 million. You don't tell me you could move him, with a player or with a package to try to bring, a De'Aaron Fox, or a point. You're still sending Sacramento a point guard, or whatever. I'm using them as an example. I know it doesn't fit because Fournier doesn't fit the Sacramento Kings. I understand that, but I'm using that as an example, Chef Dan. Just bear with me, guys, listening. Because you got to match salaries. But you throw a pick. Give me this blockbuster player here, or even Damian Lillard if you want to go back that route. You're gonna send them. Kevin Porter Jr. Let's say he comes out, he averages 17 points in New York, and the Knicks squeak in, and they play one round of the playoffs. I said, why would you want to get rid of that player? He just helped you get into that first round, whatever. That's just in case the front office doesn't think that he's going to be a solution long term, but he really balled out and really impressed and really like, oh wow, he has value, and especially at that money sign, you could flip him. I don't know. I maybe it's just a little too much minutia and me overthinking, but this is a wheeling and dealing league, Chef Dan. So I don't know.
It is, but at the same time, I don't know if we're gonna see a lot of wheeling and dealing this season. It's still going. I don't know. I still go right back to coronavirus taking out people left and right, and teams never having the chance to truly build any chemistry. And just when you think a team like right now, I know we got hit with some COVID. Julius Randle's out, this, that, whatever. I know. I can guarantee this. After this game, some of the Raptor players will get hit with COVID.
They just got back from it too. You might be right.
And they just got back, but I guarantee it. After this game, because like the way COVID is kind of running through the league, we literally as fans every night on Twitter, I'm seeing it. They're tracing the contact.
Right. And actually, we just played them. That's where we got our first epidemic wave was from them. When we went to Canada, when players got back from Canada, they started getting the
After
protocol.
no, but that was after Canada got its outbreak from
Right.
Cleveland.
Right. Yeah, I mean, with the contact tracing, excuse me. It'll be interesting there. But Chef Dan, you gotta say that number for $2 million if he's available.
If he's available,
Right.
I'm not gonna lie. Aside from the character, the talent is there.
Let me ask you a question. If Houston says, take a pick, you could give me this back or that back. They say they're gonna want a little more, and they say Eric Gordon or Kevin Porter Jr. from my roster. Which one you're taking? And is it Gordon or Bledsoe? I get those two confused.
No,
Bledsoe,
it's Gordon.
It's Gordon. Okay.
Gordon's contract is
it's up there though. But
yeah.
But they want to get rid of that. If they want to get rid of that number, they're gonna tell you, you could have any one of these 2-point guards. Who'd you take?
Damn, I'd have to take KPJ.
Yeah,
younger, a lot more upside. You can mold him. You can
Yeah, because Eric Gordon is 33 years old. He's making $12.9 million. And you can. You know what you're gonna get with Gordon. And you could still. And he's not really a point guard. He's more like a shooting guard, small forward. But another 6'4" guard, another. That's not really known for a handle. You're bringing another guy in here that's not a point guard per se as Kevin Porter Jr. is. Bringing in there. Just hope that they don't end up getting. If they do bring a Kevin Porter Jr., here's one my concern, my worry. That Kevin Porter Jr. turns into Kevin Dennis Smith Jr. That's all I'm worried about. Be honest with you, that's all I'm worried about.
And I'm not gonna lie, his shot profile makes it look that way because I know he averages 12 points, but he takes a lot of shots to get there.
Okay, I see. See, that's a that's another thing. I'm not into the Houston Rockets to see his shooting. He's shooting 36% from the field. But I don't know, how many attempts per shots he makes. Would love to have, I see that 5.7 assists, on the board and 4-point-something rebounds. But I would like to see if he's a slasher, to go to the basket type of attacker, a finisher to the rim, because this is what the Knicks need is a point guard that can learn how to finish into the rim. Kemba Walker's never been a point guard that could finish at the rim all his career, even when he was on his high profile. He was just a really good player, but he had trouble finishing at the rim all the way from Connecticut. But he still was an effective scorer. Don't get me wrong. It's just a little flaw in his game. And Derrick Rose is that type of player, but he doesn't have the body to hold up to what the Knicks need. So it's interesting. All we want to do is see if we could think about outside the box to bring that in. That presented himself for the Knickerbockers. We shall keep an eye on that. It's going to be almost close to 30 days before trading deadline.
Yeah, I don't know. We may see a lot of movement. We may not, because the off season is also supposed to be geared to not look very exciting because it's not a lot of free agents. So we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But I'm excited to see. Maybe some teams feel, that maybe there's a team in the vein of the Lakers and the Houston Rockets, the Pacers, that feel regardless of how much COVID is hitting their their roster, they still need to make a trade because even when the parts are there together, it doesn't look right.
Right. There's a few of those teams. Dallas is one.
Dallas is definitely one.
Dallas is particularly one of those. Even Portland at times, you don't know what they are. They look they're having, there's a lot of teams. As much as we concerned about our New York Knicks, there's a lot of parity in the league because there's a lot of teams similar to what the Knicks are going on. Not just with the COVID, but they got players that, man, it's not working right now, not fitting. Pieces are not working. What if if this player X wasn't here? Maybe the team plays better, or we add a next player X here. There's a lot of questions. Dallas is one of those type. Los Angeles Lakers are not having the season that they're supposed to. Only one team that said they're really going to wave the white flag is the Pacers. And other than that, I don't haven't heard anyone else say they're waving flags there. We don't know. Orlando is not going to go anywhere. and I don't think they're going to do anything either. Detroit is Detroit. They're rebuilding. They're not, and maybe another team that I don't know if they're going to blow things up, or what it is. It'd be interesting to see because the GM is trying to save his bacon because he knows he's probably on his way out. Is the Pelicans?
Oh,
David
yes.
Grissom and the Pelicans. Who don't know what the heck is going on with that franchise. That franchise is like, I don't know. That's another one.
It's kind of crazy when you're losing and you're just silent. That's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no glamour. Nobody cares about them, be honest with you, because Zion ain't there. And what does that tell you, with the league? The league, they went out of their way to Zion. They wanted Zion to get in the play-in, that year, for rookie year. They made everything possible, and putting him in. And now he's not on the court, and the Pelicans are irrelevant. Very extremely irrelevant franchise, or you don't hear anything. You don't even know. You know that they're in the bottom of the echelons of the league, but you don't even hear nothing. You don't even know. If we didn't know about Brandon Ingram, I maybe Valanciunas. That's it. You don't know anyone else. Me personally, because I like Jackson Hayes. I think Jackson Hayes is a high energy backup center for them. But other than that, it's quiet. It's mum. Mum's the word. And it's interesting to see teams are like that in that middle stuck where they need something jumpstart. Sacramento, you don't know what the heck is going on. You remember we talked about Allen Gentry. I'm blasting them on the last podcast, and what situation is going on with them. They're going through whatever. Now also headache, mediocrity. Teams in the East. Philadelphia doesn't look hot. The Knicks are a couple win streak away, and they're right there on the heels of Philadelphia 76ers. Although they had an impressive victory against Brooklyn the other night, but they're another one that are stuck in the middling time. That's the Hawks. The Hawks, who's supposed to take the next step going forward, they're as of tonight probably tied with the New York Knicks in 11th or 10th. Right now in the standings. I know they were trailing the Knicks at one time. Right before we lost that game in OKC. I got to check the updated standings, but the Hawks are not having that type. And Trae Young has a streak of 25 plus games in a row. I think that's his 11 25 plus game in a row. And meanwhile, look where they're at. They're stuck in, so there's a lot of teams that are stuck in that middle, same time, but can't get going. COVID won't allow them, or whatever the case is. And it'll be interesting to see. I think the team that gets on a really sustained second half winning streak or get hot in April could have a nice playoff run, Chef Dan.
Most definitely. I don't know why. I just feel like it as tight as it is right now, it's going to be that much more tight coming down the wire. So the Knicks can't wave the white flag.
No, no matter how stupid or how terrible it looks, and how much we get like fools and get frustrated with them. And as fans, it's okay for us to sometimes want to find blame, but as an organization, they're gonna have to keep the course, keep the faith, keep going forward. And us as fans got to continue to have a little patience and trust the process, trust the front office, the organization. I know we killed, me personally, not having a contingency plan for Randle, power forward, and bringing size. I knocked them myself, but I got to trust them. They know what they're doing at the end game. We're reactionary for the present moment, but we got to see the end game. And the end game is the chapter of the 21-22 NBA New York Knicks season before we could say, fail or give us our final grades on the organization. We shall see, and not have us as fans, we tend to get knee-jerk reaction. I remember, when Mitchell Robinson news came on, my God, my Twitter alerts were going, my Twitter alerts and my YouTube alerts was going crazy because everybody who has a YouTube Knicks page or show were all putting live streams immediately. Emergency this, emergency that. I said, let me take a breather. Let me see what's going on. Let me get the full thing, because sometimes we go up and we make misinformation or knee-jerk reaction. But we try to make sure we see before we gather. He just. Mitchell Robinson says he's not sick. He's not asymptomatic. He goes, this is BS. He threw that Snapchat out with him saying that was BS. But hey, the test says you're sick, and it's not just you, Mitchell Robinson. We want you to get better. There's elderly coaches on your sidelines, trainers. You don't know their health conditions. You don't know when they go home, their wives, their children. Some of them might have their elderly parents living with them, taking care of them. and you have someone with your, if you have the illness, they bring it home, and you're going to cause pain to those coaches or anyone that you come in contact, masseuse, or anyone that their parents might be sick, and and they might not have the financial means to bury their loved ones. So it goes beyond just yourself and your family. It becomes about everyone around you that you come in contact with, and that's important. That's why they want you to do the right precautions and so forth. And we could spend here discussion about the whole COVID protocols and vaccinations and all that. But that's another story. That's political stuff. We leave that alone. But if your league has in place these rules and you come with it, you know what? It sucks. We want you on the court. I wish you were on the court. I wish we didn't. But it is what it is. We have to deal with it, Chef Dan.
Most definitely. Those are rules, and we just got to abide not only for our safety, but for everyone's safety around us.
Right. With that said, what else? I think we covered everything for this podcast this early evening, or we'll run it on Monday morning. So salute to everyone listening to this podcast the 3rd day of January. We recorded it this evening, Sunday night. We appreciate everyone listening to us. Please like and subscribe. Follow us, at BXJedi76 on Twitter handle. Chef Dan, please give me your Twitter handle again. Let everyone know.
Once again, it's at DyingBreed18, DYINGBREED 1818.
And also follow us on Facebook, BX Sports Jedi Network, or BX Sports Jedi. And also in Instagram, Return of the Knicks Podcast. You find us on Instagram as well there. Anywhere on Spreaker, you find Sports Jedi Network on Spreaker, and in your audio platform on Rumba, BX Sports Jedi Network, Twitch, BX Sports Jedi Network, and Apple Podcast the same. Everywhere, or just click on the link or follow us there. Hit and it'll take you there, or LinkedIn, Linktree. If you go to Linktree, we are on Linktree as well, and Linktree, we'll give you all our social media. Everything is all stop place. I loved it. I signed up with it. It made my life easier. I just go to Linktree. It tells you where you can find all our programs and every social media platform. From the website all the way to all the YouTube. Everywhere you can find our videos. Everywhere you can find our audio podcast, the merchandise store, as well as PayPal, Cash App. And all the donations that you give us to our program, we appreciate. And I want to say thank you for all those donors that donate to us each and every week. Thank you, guys. We appreciate the financial blessings that you give us. We appreciate all the money that you give us. We appreciate it. We always reinvest it back in the program and back into us. And trust me, this is not easy. The internet, high-speed internet, for all of us, it helped. Thank you, guys. We appreciate you guys helping us and allow us to participate with that, and we thank you again, and pray that you guys get blessed 10,000 folds back for blessing the program. So thank you, guys. So from me, Chef Dan, say us good night, close us out so we can say good night here.
Good night, everyone. It's a rough road ahead for the Knicks, but we just got to stay consistent. Look ahead to see, it's about 1 foot ahead. It's a marathon, not a race.
Well said. So, guys, see you next time.